everyone, welcome to Season 1, Episode 14 of the Film Bros Championship Podcast. I am Tim, with me is my co-host Patrick. How you doing, buddy?
Tim, did you know that Chuck Norris's calendar goes from March 31st to April 2nd? It's because nobody fooled Chuck Norris.
That is genius. I wish I had all the Chuck Norris jokes.
Tim, I got you covered.
Do you?
Straight up, audience, I'm sorry. Kids, earmuffs. Earmuffs! This is your warning, earmuffs. I fucking hated this movie.
Aww.
And I have Chuck Norris jokes throughout because I fucking hated this movie. And I wanted to do something that made me laugh a little bit.
Fair enough.
That's it. Earmuffs off now.
There you go. What's good. The one, what is it? Chuck Norris doesn't do push-ups or something?
He pushes the earth down.
Yeah.
I did not include that in one of my jokes.
Okay. That's like a staple, I guess. It's kind of like a used one a lot or something, I guess.
Yep. I didn't do the snake one either. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Well, okay.
Boy, Silent Rage. What a film. Compared to this shit.
It's kind of funny, right? I guess this was more what I was expecting because remember, I was really apprehensive about doing Chuck Norris movies because as I've said before, I am not a Chuck guy.
What's wild is this is his big budget MGM studio movie.
Yeah.
And Silent Rage was his, independently produced movie and way better. So much better.
But that ends up becoming his main production company, right? I guess
he hooks up with I can't remember their names all of a sudden. The Golden Globus guys who did Death Wish 2. Okay. And then he really that's gonna annoy the crap.
Because I think these are the people that or the Silent Rage people are the ones that end up doing Walker, Texas Ranger and such.
Yeah, exactly right.
Right. So I was saying to you too off air, I had a real tough time with this movie because I ended up not exactly loving it either, and I scored it, and I was looking at the overall score, and I was like, well, that seems too low. I feel like this should be higher than some of these other movies, and then I started kind of going through my scores again, so I feel like you're going to be talking me down probably closer to where I originally had the score, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not great. It's not ideal. So I guess this is my movie, so I have to explain this.
And just a quick warning to all our listeners: I am sorry. I've had drink like a quarter, maybe close to a half a bottle of scotch. Because I needed something to smooth thinking about this movie again. That's how bummed out I am to be talking about it and thinking about it again.
Yeah.
God damn it.
That's fair.
Yeah, thank you.
So we have U.S. Army Josh Randall.
Airborne Ranger.
Yeah, and he is, I guess, having a blast in Hong Kong and ends up being taken in by a really weird family.
Sam Pascal.
We will talk about more later. But anyway, they own a casino, and he ends up running security for this casino. Yep. And basically, the son, who's doing more of the operations at this point, has gotten himself into some trouble over some gambling and is getting involved in some land deals that are not going the way that the big bad mob basically wants, and so they get taken out, and Chuck Norris's character Josh Randall is trying to save the last living heir, the daughter, and to stop this group, and that's basically the premise of the movie.
Tim, that is the most succinct premise you've given yet this season.
I'm trying to get better.
I'm so proud of
you. Yeah.
Way to go, buddy.
I know as we're recording later, and so our earlier episodes are coming up, and I'm listening to them. I'm like, yeah, I am going too long here. You're right to call me out. So, yeah, because we'll get into specifics as we go.
Outstanding work.
Outstanding. Yeah, so there it is. There's the plot. And so I guess we talk about our hero, Josh Randall.
Chuck's playing Josh.
Yeah,
Chuck
he doesn't look like a Josh.
Chuck Norris plays Josh Randall. And, he said an Army veteran who was a wild drunk when casino owner Sam Pascal took him under his wing after trashing his casino with his Army buddy, which is a wild move for a casino owner.
Yeah, I guess he liked the cut of his jib.
You really screwed up my casino. I'm going to raise you as my own. That's new. Okay.
He liked his spirit, his fire, the way he fought.
He knew he could kick butt, and he's like, "You'd be useful to me here in Hong Kong."
Yeah, and yeah, I was gonna start talking about Sam Pascal, but I feel like that should be later. He's also a gambler himself. He likes to gamble. We see that at one point in the movie that he does still have some gambling in him.
Dice later. Okay,
sure.
So the worst part about this movie is that we have to deal with Josh's inner monologue.
Oh yes,
and it's just always awful. It's so cliched and awful.
It's so brutal.
The very first scene of this movie starts off with Los Angeles, the city of angels, so they say. And I just knew immediately, I'm in so much trouble.
Yeah.
Shit.
Because you're watching and you're like, wait a minute, isn't this how some porn starts? And no, that is not.
You're not far off. The enthusiasm with the acting is basically 70s porn / I don't know, 50s B movie noir. It's terrible.
It's really bad.
No one seems happy to be in this movie.
No, and every time I'm kind of like, oh no, the monologue, right away, oh this is oh no, voiceover. Chuck is narrating this. Okay, oh no.
Just the beginning, it's like, okay, first scene, we'll let it go. It's fine. And we go into a little further, and he's like you say, he's in Los Angeles, and he's there to collect a debt. He's head of security / debt collector.
Yeah.
And he goes up to this house in I'm guessing it's supposed to be Beverly Hills or something. And the butler says, "Oh, the guy you're looking to see is not here. He's not available." And Chuck's like, "He's available to me." I'm like, all right, we're back in it.
Yeah.
We're back in the badassness. And
I have that note too.
Chuck, and then the guy he comes to collect the debt with has some anti-Semitic remarks, and we see we get a tight close-up on Chuck's fist getting clenched very hard. He's like, okay, Chuck doesn't like anti-Semites.
I think we get that at least
this.
one or two other times.
Yes.
I think 2 other times where we have to zoom in on his clenched fist to know that he's upset.
In this one scene.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm saying he does it there. I think he does it once at one of the casinos at one point in the movie.
Yeah, later on.
And then he does it at the end.
It's twice in this one scene we have a close-up of his fist.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So he's mad because he can't emote. He can't emote and act that he's upset. So he has to show his fist.
Yes. And Josh has shades of Dalton and Roadhouse that he always has to be polite to everyone. And I'm not sure if this is a written character trait or just the way Chuck Norris is willing to play a character.
Sometimes it works. I like the moment in when the meeting is happening with the son and the dad in the casino bar, and he all right, let's gamble. You guys know this game type of deal. And the only time there is any kind of charisma to it is when the girl tries oh, can I play? And then the henchman, the guy slaps the girl, and then immediately Chuck Norris slaps the guy. He's like, how do you like it?
Yeah, doesn't feel good, does it?
Yeah, I like that. He pulled that scene off actually well.
Yes, when he's very polite and knight in shining armor, it's great. Ask me to do anything else, I'm not trying it in this movie.
Yeah.
And it's too bad because in Silent Rage, he has some halfway decent facial reactions. There's no attempt in this movie. None.
No, there's not. And that voiceover keeps coming back.
It never goes away.
And there's times where because you're confused because there's ADR in the movie, as most movies of the time,
there's some
right?
dubbing. There's some dubbing in this movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Straight
But the
dubbing.
problem is that they still do voiceover randomly throughout like the movie. So there's parts of the movie where you have like background of a city drop and I'm narrating, right? But then there's other times where like he gets his hat knocked off and then he has an inner monologue in the middle of that, they knocked my hat off again.
Why
like,
do they always pick on my hat?
Yes. And it's like, what? So you have to notice he didn't say that actually out loud. That was inner monologue. It's so horrible.
Like, do we need this? No. We could have gotten this from a facial reaction, but Chuck Norris is incapable of doing a facial reaction for this.
Yeah.
For some reason. Or the director and editor is incapable of getting this shot of him in his face, like being unhappy with him. My hat again.
Yeah. And that's another thing. Don't mess with the Jews. Don't mess with his hat. Those are the two things that are going to set him off and clench a fist. You know? Do you remember that there's one part, too, where he has to hide the girls, and he has another monologue, and he's like, but the monologue is so bad. Where do I hide two beautiful women in Hong Kong? And it's like, oh my God, it's so horrible.
I got it. And I think he literally says, like, I got it. A cat house. I'm like, that's a terrible plan.
Really bad.
There's just obviously going to be guys in the underworld looking for you already, and they're going to be near the cat houses because that's where they hang out. And sure enough,
to
the movie's credit, they get him right away.
I think we're confused on, also this movie's confused at least, on what a cat house is.
Well, it's
this not a cat house.
It's not
a brothel. It's just it's a sleazy motel that pays by the hour.
Good point. Yeah, they didn't show up like a lineup of girls who could come out.
Right. It's not a cat house.
This is not my understanding from the HBO series. You're right. Yeah.
Or any brothel I've seen in any Western. You know what I mean? Like this is not that. It literally just looks like a pay by the hour motel.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. It does.
Thank you.
So yeah, I've written down a lot of his monologues that just like honestly gave me migraines.
Yeah.
And then this movie seems to be written for like James Garner in like a 70s comedy noir or something like that, but
he would be able to pull that off better. Yeah.
Well, James Garner is a much more charismatic actor. Yeah, and he knows how to do a film noir. But we got Chuck Norris instead in the early 80s, and it's like, oh boy. So Chuck Norris is forced to say things like fast, hard, and dangerous. Hong Kong is like a slap in the face. It makes you feel good. A jade neon jungle that lives by one law: make money quick.
Yeah. Wait,
what is that?
I don't know.
It's 1982. What are we doing?
What about the line he has when it's in the cat house? Apparently,
I have this written down.
Yeah, he gives his woman the gun. What is that one?
Note: never let your girl handle your piece. God damn it!
Oh man, it's real bad. But then again, you have these other moments too, where like he goes into he interrupts or goes into the meeting with the dad and the brother there, and the guy's the bad guy, the villain's trying to like hire him basically.
I have this written down for the villain part.
Yeah, and he says no or whatever, but I liked his response. He's like, I knows that word, like I hear off or something like that, and then Chuck goes, "You want to hear it again?" But he pulls that one off. So it's like, it's really weird. But it's really like few and far between when he actually pulls it off. It's like they clearly just don't know how to use him.
No, this feels like they dusted off some MGM script from like the 60s or the 70s. And like, what if we put Chuck Norris in instead? And like, you don't understand Norris's limits. He's good at some stuff. He's really bad at a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You can't ask him to do this. It's not fair.
And we do have that theory about some actors. Some are worse than others. Like Mark Wahlberg, like can be insanely good.
Oh yes,
when put in certain roles, and directed a certain way, he's actually great. But then there's times where Mark Wahlberg's rough.
Ask Mark Wahlberg to be a tough guy, no problem. Ask him to be a quirky character, he's got you.
Yeah.
Ask him to be a scientist, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Sorry again to the kids.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna have to change that warning.
I apologize.
Did you notice too, by the way, in that scene where he's is being in security and he goes to the other casino, he's wearing a tux. But did you get a close look at the back of that tux?
The Thunderbird on the back. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I was like, you see him from the front. You're like, oh, he's wearing a tux now.
It looks like normal tux.
And then they show to the back, like, oh, there's a Thunderbird on the back. Of course there is.
Yeah. I mean, later on, you do see him, like, before you notice the Thunderbird, you see the hat. He's got a black cowboy hat to go. Like, okay, sure. So you don't get a close-up. It's not until he's, like, going into the office, you see the full back up close, and you see it's a little shimmery, and you're like, oh, wow, of course. Okay, there's
just sparkly Thunderbird in the back. Always got to represent. Chuck, you're from Oklahoma, not Texas. Sorry. You're an Okie.
Oh, man. But it's wow.
Speaking of that stupid effing hat.
Yeah.
I controlled myself that time.
There you go.
So, like, there's a scene in this movie where he's, like, combing the city for answers and asking people what's up. And he's still wearing this stupid 10-gallon hat throughout the whole movie. I'm like,
yeah.
Aren't you supposed to be incognito? Like,
yeah.
Everyone is looking for you. There's, like, $100,000 bounty on your head. And you're wearing a 10-gallon hat.
You're a white guy in Hong Kong in a cowboy hat. Although, to be fair, there seems to be no. I mean that. let me strike that. Reverse it.
Thank you.
It's not to be fair to the movie or that. It's more about to be fair to how they're depicting Hong Kong in this movie, in their version of Hong Kong.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
There are very little Asian people at all.
Thank you. I have this in Hong Kong. Like, there's so many white people in this movie.
Yes. Like, I know at this point in time, the British are in control, and they even reference that at the very end in that last monologue, which was like, oh, God.
It's written down as well.
Yeah, but it's just like, to such an extreme of how many white people there are. Like, where are the Chinese people in Hong Kong?
I have this written down. The nuts amount of white people in Hong Kong. Henchmen, cops, lawyers, dealers, everybody is white. There is like 25% of the people in this movie that takes place 98% in Hong Kong. Yeah. Features, like I said, 10% Asian people. Chinese people. It's nuts.
It's really cool. I really like that it's in Hong Kong. I did get words like, oh, we're in LA. Oh, no.
Scouting in this movie is gorgeous.
Yeah. Good job on
It's the best part of this movie. It's like I'm seeing parts of Hong Kong I've never seen in movies before.
Yeah. It's cool. It's neat. And it's so I was excited. I was like, so when the plane's going back to Hong Kong, I was like, oh, thank God. I was really worried there.
Yeah, I hear you.
Especially because that was one big knock on Silent Rage. Is like, where are we? There's like nothing here. There's nothing to look at. It's pretty.
That was wild to find out we were like in Dallas. I'm like, really?
Yeah, couldn't tell. Yeah.
Can I do some more of my Chuck lines?
Oh, please do.
The greatest man I ever knew was a homosexual.
I missed that one. I didn't know that one happened.
This is like Chuck is trying to interrogate somebody, and he grabs a gentleman who is the gay lover of another gentleman, and he wraps him in a blanket and starts squirting gasoline on him.
Oh yeah.
And threatens to light him on fire. And it's like Chuck letting us know he's not committing a hate crime when he's trying to light this guy on fire.
Oh yeah.
He's just like, he wants answers.
Of course, that's it.
But it's like, there's no follow-up or pretense. Who is this man? I want to know.
Yeah.
I got so many questions, Chuck.
He does a lot of interesting interrogating. I have to say the one that I liked the most would be where he goes to some other white guy that apparently has worked for the villain from time to time or something, some older, overweight, shorter guy.
Oh, the lawyer, or I think...
Yeah, is that what he was? He's a lawyer?
That was purely my guess because he had an office.
Yeah, exactly.
I have no idea.
It looked like a private eye office of like the 50s or something.
I couldn't figure it out, yeah.
But yeah, there's no real great explanation of who he was. You just kind of get the gist that he's working for.
When there's a guy wearing all white, I assume you're a lawyer.
Yeah, and he looks sweaty and hot.
Yes.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Classic Southern lawyer stuff.
Yeah. So it's like he's like leaving after his like talking to him, and he's like, "This is just between us, right?" and he doesn't say anything.
Of course.
And
He's
Chuck
eating M&Ms.
leaves. Yeah, and then he immediately starts going for the phone, and then all of a sudden the gun comes into the shot.
Yeah.
That's and and repeats the line again. That was actually a nice gag. Like,
Can I ask you a question about the M&Ms real quick?
Yeah.
Were you staring at them like, man, look at the colors. They're so lame. There's no blue. It's all it's so many browns.
I think I missed this part with the M&Ms, to be honest.
Oh yeah, he's eating M&Ms, and I'm just fascinated staring at the M&Ms. Like, look at all the shitty colors. Shitty colors they had. I did it again. So anyway,
yeah.
My final one that I've written down here for Chuck inner monologues that we have to hear, inner monologue / narration. Hong Kong, a borrowed place that runs on borrowed time. The British run it now, but in 17 years, the lease runs out and the People's Republic is the landlord. But this city is a city of survivors. And whatever happens in Hong Kong will be the place. And let me tell you, I'm not a trained actor, Avi. I just did more emotion than Chuck ever did in this movie.
Not a whole lot there, for sure.
Yep.
That's all I have for you.
I have one more thing. I just a question. Why does Chuck Norris put on his army dress uniform to finally take down the bad guys?
Thank you. I was gonna save that for action, but it
serves no purpose. I'm like,
none. It looks very uncomfortable.
It's not a great thing to move it. It's his dress uniform.
It's his dress uniform, and he does the whole thing, the tie and the jacket and everything. Although he does adjust later after his first counter. Oh, maybe I need to lose some of it, so he loses the jacket and the tie.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure cowboy boots are not part of military dress code.
Correct. That is the one part that he mistakes. That's not part of it.
So it was really startling. It makes no sense. Like, I get it. Like, there's been plenty of movies where it's like, all right, I got to get my uniform, costume, whatever, like my known thing, get it back on for
which
one
he stashes at a friend's house, I guess. It looks like.
I guess. I don't know.
Also weird.
It makes no sense because they've established that he's ex-military, but they have not established like that I'm some amazing military person and somehow have taken lots of people out in my military dress uniform.
No, the medals. There's a lot of medals, but honestly, all we know of his military career is that he's a effing drunk at the end. Drunk and a wild guy.
Yeah.
All right. So last thing I need to say is Chuck Norris once won a game of Connect 4 in 3 moves. That's the best one I have tonight. There's a lot worse coming.
Fair enough. I feel like it takes me back to like high school and college.
Yeah, that's how old these jokes are. Yeah. To be fair, the movie's older, so whatever.
Yeah, this is true.
So what'd you give the hero?
So this is one of the categories that I flexed up, but I had much lower.
It's a 1.
Wow.
It's an effing 1.
Wow.
Chuck sucks in this movie. He's just bad.
No, I gave it a 2.
Effing Josh.
Josh Randall. No, I mean, as much as he's kind of bad, but there are a few times where I like some deliveries. Some stuff made me laugh, I guess, but more at him, not with him. I'm gonna have a hard time arguing against this.
Almost zero enthusiasm in anything he says in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, again, I can count it on one hand.
It's wild that this movie comes out a few months after Silent Rage. And I'm like, that's a much better performance. Wow, I really underrated that performance compared to this tub of crap.
Yeah, it's good caveat there, comparatively, because we knocked his performance pretty good in Silent Rage as well. Like, it's not great either.
No, I feel like I need to rewatch it and rethink everything. Like, wow.
Really, if anything, I think, like, all the people that used to make fun of me for my fandom of Jean-Claude Van Damme needs to apologize, especially if they're Chuck people.
Oh, Jean-Claude has way more charisma than Chuck Norris ever had. It's
I
not even
agree.
close.
Yes, thank you. I'm not saying you specifically. I'm just saying people who mocked my Jean-Claude love.
Please.
Um,
Chuck Norris,
yeah,
I'm not even getting into his best stuff. Chuck Norris never had a movie as good as freaking Hard Target or what's the hockey one?
Sudden Death.
He never had a movie that good.
Oh,
Ever.
I like Sudden Death quite a lot. I do.
I mean, it's no Time Cop
Time Cop is definitely a personal favorite for sure.
or
Double Impact.
Universal
or
Soldier.
Universal Soldier's great. I love Universal Soldier. Sure, there's
Yeah,
so
no,
many
Chuck Norris
good
never had
ones.
movies that good ever.
Sure, yeah.
I sound like
Was it Lionheart? I feel like that's one, right? Lionheart.
That's
that
the one
was
where he's like a
alright.
French Legion soldier.
Yeah, the weirdest one I think was a Cyborg.
Yep.
It was like post-apocalyptic, like robot type. It was weird.
Directed by a guy that did one of the movies, The Sword and Sorcerer.
But anyway, yeah.
Anthony.
It's. Oh hey, why did he get his girl a Miss Piggy doll?
Well, did he get that for the girl, or did he get it for like the girl that was like he knew who was going to be
He
taking
got
her
it
to
for. I think he got it
the
for
Albert?
for his girl, and ended up giving it to the little girl.
Oh, I just assumed he bought it for
Because there was kind of like a quick thing where she goes, "Oh, is that for me?" And he was kind of like, "Eh," like she got it. I don't know.
It was sweet.
I don't know. It was weird.
So what do you say for Hero here?
Well, I went to, and I mean, yeah, I thought actually I ended up bumping it all the way up to 1 point to 3, and I know that's crazy.
Absolutely not.
That's why I said like
I will fight you.
I understand, man. I just say like I then looked at the final thing and I was like, this just seems too low.
No.
And then I bumped things up, but you went harsher than what I had originally. I went 2 originally.
I enjoyed The Sword and the Sorcerer more than this movie. So that is where my
I don't know
scoring
about
lies.
that.
Nope. It's more fun.
I don't know about that
movie
one.
is more fun.
I don't know about that.
No.
I'm gonna have to disagree on that one.
Well, you're wrong.
All right. I disagree with you. All right, let's go 1.5.
All right.
Give me a half point for Chuck here for a couple of good deliveries.
Fine. And I'll fight you down to 1 later.
You will not.
We'll see.
Get a little liquor and all of a sudden you're all feisty.
Scotch. In my belly.
All right, so villain. We don't get a lot of it.
This is the least amount I have to say about this movie.
Yeah, because you get you get a lot of henchmen and a lot of the people they have around the street. And basically it's Ramondi.
Stan!
The old man that we eventually figure out is Ramondi's daddy.
Did we ever get a name from him? I'm sure we did. But
I don't remember. I just remember it being called the old man.
that's how I remember too.
Yeah. Because I remember like Chuck was like, the old man. And I'm like, can we get clued in on who...
This movie is 90 minutes long, and it's like... It literally took me forever to watch it.
Well, there's so much running through the streets of Hong Kong and nothing is happening.
It's actually the more entertaining parts.
Yeah.
Hong Kong's pretty... I want to go there.
Hong Kong is pretty true. But yeah, so Ramondi, the old man, his daddy, that we find out is, I guess, the big bad, and then the big Asian dude.
Yeah,
henchman.
the
That
villain
seems to be
is the main bad guy, Stan Ramondi, the main operator of the Osiris group.
Yeah.
The first time we see him, he tries to hire Chuck in front of Sam and Sam's son, David, which feels ballsy. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
all right. But then he more or less disappears in this movie.
He doesn't come up till the end again.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
He's not a moron, which is nice.
He's doing an okay job. I don't think anything is bad.
No, he's not a
delivery or
bad
anything.
actor. He's a little tough, slapping his own henchmen around after they made a larger commotion in his casino.
Yeah. He's just not really in it, is the problem. He's not really
and we're
there.
trying to figure out the motivation, and it is... Okay. I put on the subtitles for this because I was dumbfounded and confused. And when Chuck finally, gets to find someone who has the answers, why did they kill the Pascals?
Yeah.
This is what the guy says. They were planning to develop a whole area in Las Vegas, and the Pascals were in the way.
In Las Vegas?
This is why I'm confused.
Oh, I just assumed that his casino, they wanted to build there and
That
his casino
would have made sense. But that's not what the movie said. That's why I'm so angry. Like, what?
All right. That doesn't make any sense. I didn't realize. I just thought it was that. It was people wanting to develop Hong Kong, and they were in the way of their land.
Would have
or whatever.
made sense. I rewinded and put it on subtitles. Like, what did he say?
That makes me more upset. I did not catch that. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Doesn't make any sense.
It really doesn't. And I mean, all of their like connections.
Listeners, I want you to point out that Tim is right now like rubbing his eyes and his forehead. He is so frustrated with the information I've just given him about this movie. He's like, God, this sucks so much more than I even thought.
No, I knew it was bad, but like that made it. At least I thought that somewhat made sense, and then you threw that one. I was like, well, okay, now it doesn't make sense at all.
It's like they filmed half of this movie in a different country, and they didn't stop. And then they like, oh, what if we did it in Hong Kong too? And they didn't edit the two pieces to make any sense together.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's clearly all in Hong Kong, except for the beginning of the L.A.
But I wonder if the interior stuff, like the Vegas thing and everything like that, okay, if the movie originally was intended to take place in Vegas, that would have made sense. But nope.
Or maybe the subtitle messed up.
No. He clearly said Vegas.
Okay. Or maybe they forgot some dialogue.
That's why I had to rewind.
They own some casinos outside of Hong Kong. And
never mentioned in the movie.
Yeah.
They just have the one tiny casino. The Lucky Dragon.
Isn't like Hong Kong not a big or as big of a casino place? Isn't that now Macau?
Well, that's the real.
Yeah.
These days, but yeah, Hong Kong is a bunch of different islands, and I have not been there, so I can't comment on the casino situation. But,
fair enough.
Especially back in the 80s.
They were forcing them to sell because, well, I guess the son started taking bad bets that Raimondi was not gonna take, so he was trying to take that business on and couldn't cover the bets.
Correct.
And that got him into some financial trouble. Yeah. And so Raimondi's like, I'll get you out of that financial trouble, sell to me. And Pascal, the daddy, is like, F off. I'm not doing that. And then so the basic gist is, without that nonsensical dialogue, is we're going to kill them and take the ownership of the casino so we can develop there is the gist that would make sense at least.
That is what the movie says until that one line of dialogue appears, which makes no sense whatsoever.
But again, I missed the Vegas part, so to me it always made sense. So, but yeah, that clearly doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
So yeah, and basically they killed the dad and the son, and now they got to get the daughter, which we're not really introduced to the daughter until
we have dialogue about the daughter.
Dead.
It's like,
that she exists, but we don't know.
Party girl, no good.
Yeah.
But that's Chuck's mission, is to protect her throughout the rest of the movie.
Right.
To screw
and all you see is henchmen, basically, for the rest. Or people that I guess
until
are
the
paid
very
informants, I guess, right? Because there's one guy who's just like a hot dog vendor, basically, who
outside
just randomly calls.
I'm assuming it wasn't hot dogs since Hong Kong, Tim. But,
well, yeah, I'm saying like that, but yes. But it's still super weird. And then there's like a random dude in like a sailing captain's hat.
Yes, I have that written down later on in the action scenes.
Yeah,
yes.
And then of course the big Asian guy, the giant dude, and those are your basic main villains. But like without that dialogue, it makes sense to me. But yeah, that's troubling dialogue. It's also not clear whether I guess they own the police.
No.
Because that was confusing, the whole situation where all of a sudden the two guys strip searched Chuck. And then they are you hear the phone and they're getting yelled at by whatever superior to release. So that was all really weird. And then like one police gets punched in the gut, but then another police ends up helping him. So that whole police thing was bizarre and didn't make much sense.
Yeah, we'll get into that later.
Okay, I thought that would all chord towards the villain, I guess, and what they're up to. But yeah. And I guess I don't know. The old man just kind of sits there. He doesn't really have a whole lot of dialogue.
Well, let's talk more about Stan.
Okay. Well,
So,
I was going to say the other things I was going to say about Stan is more action, so I didn't want to go step
let's
into
kind of
that.
just describe him a little bit. But first,
Fair enough.
the end of this movie, well, 9/10 end of this movie, takes place on a yacht. And
Yeah.
Stan is kidnapped Joy, the daughter of Sam Pascal at this point, and he's ready to rape her. The
Yeah.
second rape of this movie.
Yep.
And and once all of a sudden he hears gunshots, and he responds with, he takes off his jacket. He's like, Randall, Randall, Randall.
Yes. It's weird. He's very frustrated did not get his rape on. What is up with 1982
Yes!
and rape in movies?
Yes!
Because there's been a lot of movies we've watched so far this season that feature rape and some pretty horrific rapes.
Yep. I was thinking the same too. I'm like, another rape? God damn it. And then
Yeah.
an attempted rape on top of
An
that.
attempted, we got a rape and an attempted rape in this one. And almost every one of these movies really dwells on that rape.
Yep.
And it's
unfortunate.
I don't know.
Anyway.
It's upsetting. Yeah.
Stan can fight a bit, which makes him a little bit better than most villains. And he has a fight with Chuck that's probably the best fight in this movie, because most of it takes place with the bad guy at the with his back to the camera, so a stuntman can take over doing the cool fighting stuff. Anyway, that's all I have to say about this movie, except for one more Chuck Norris joke for this
you
section.
mean this category?
This category, sorry.
Yeah.
You ready for your next Chuck Norris joke, Tim?
Yeah, go for it.
The only time Chuck Norris was ever wrong was when he thought he made a mistake. I gave this category a 1.
I did too.
Good.
Yeah. It's not great.
Poopy. It's not good.
Well, it's just, I mean, it's not, again, like, it's not like Ramondi's not bad.
No, the actor is fine. I wish they gave him more to do.
Exactly.
He's the only one trying.
He's not in it. He's not in it enough, but he holds his own at the end. I mean, again, I could probably bump it to a 1.5 or 2 just for that, but
no,
I get the argument.
Grr. No.
I get it. All right, so action. Yeah, so I'm trying to think of where I want to start with this, because if you want to start with the credits, it's one, or you can start with the first kind of
I want to get
dialogue.
into the credits later, because that's I get really angry about that.
Well, I didn't get angry about it until
I got angry.
I was fine with the credits. What I was upset about was seeing it the exact same thing.
Yeah,
later in the movie.
This is my point. Like, I want to talk about that later.
Okay, fair enough.
Because, god damn it.
Yeah. So anyway, I guess we start off with him in L.A. Trying to get the money that is owed the Pascals. This is where you get that.
That's it was.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
He gets that line, a cool line we talked about. They hit his hat off again, but anyway, so you got some fighting and some martial arts.
Yeah. So this bodyguard knocks off Chuck's hat, the first hat infringement in this movie, and is dismissed with 3 kicks to the face. In classic Norris fashion. And
there was a nice move with the briefcase where
he uses it as a shield. Yeah, and hits him with it.
But there was like 2 different kicks to the balls, I think, in this one too.
Yeah. And after a few moments, the bodyguard gets back up, this time armed with a butterfly knife, and steps on Chuck's hat. And Chuck retaliates with an uppercut and two quick fist smacks.
Yeah.
And we hear more of Chuck's inner monologue, and he's like, "Oh no, my best hat."
Yep.
God damn it.
But it's pretty quick. I mean, none of it is, I would say, like it's not slow bad like
No,
Beastmaster.
no, this is the highlight of the action in the movie for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Or like,
It
close
actually
to
is
it, anyway.
close to it. But the problem is you get a big gap between this part and like decent action later on in the movie. But it's it's quick dispatching of people, but it looks fine. It's not slow or anything. It's fine. It's just nothing that's like goes like whoa, like again the bar scene in Silent Rage, which we both really liked.
That's a great scene, but like
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm gonna honest. I wrote down so many stuff for this action stuff
yeah,
in this movie, but like 9/10 of it is just like Chuck Norris kicks this guy to death in one kick.
yeah.
So much of this is like that. And I
Yeah, a
think,
lot of my notes is quick dispatch.
yeah,
So quick moves takes a guy down quick.
there's a casino robbery, and he takes them out in like 2 seconds.
Although some escape, I don't, and he seemed weird. Like he's like, "Oh, these guys look suspicious," and then he goes outside and takes a look at the car. And for some odd reason, seeing that car in those 2 seconds meant, "Oh no, we're being robbed." I'm like, okay, I don't know why you're jumping to that, but okay,
No,
you're right.
he has like a spidey sense about like casino
I guess so.
robbery.
But yeah, you don't see much there either. There's a gunshot, but he takes care of that fight even faster than the beginning.
Yeah. And then later on, there's a guy with nunchucks that comes up to him in an alley, and Chuck shows him his gun.
Oh yeah.
And then the guy runs away sheepishly, and then comes back with like two more guys.
Yeah.
So Chuck just shoots the dangling meat that's hanging over him, and the meat falls and hits him over the knocks him out.
But here's my question about that one.
Raiders came out the year before.
No. That's not what I was going to say. So you said, and he shoots the meat.
He shoots
Did
like the bar that. Like
Okay, but look at that scene again.
No, it's
Did
trash.
he?
It's trash.
Did he?
No, it doesn't.
He clearly is nowhere near pointed up or anything to make it like the shots don't line up at all, and that's some pretty simple editing there.
Yeah, it's as lazy as you described.
Yeah.
And then you got a random old guy in a Gilligan's Island skipper cap that attacks Chuck with a knife.
Yeah.
And like Chuck beats him up like twice, very simply, and then like the guy gets up a third time, like, F it, I'll shoot him.
I thought the most impressive part of that was him jumping over the fence after that fight.
I'm sorry, I couldn't concentrate on that because a second later, Chuck decides to jump
on
from
the ferry.
the dock to the ferry, and it is about a foot away.
Well, the worst thing too is you get the inside the ferry perspective.
Yeah.
So it looks even less impressive.
And he swings onto the overhang of the ferry, and I have the line written down.
Yeah.
I hope you don't mind me dropping in like this. Are we supposed to be impressed? Declan could have made that jump. Your son. Easily. No problem.
Yeah. It wasn't great. And again, like even if maybe it looked better from a different angle, but you chose the worst angle to see this stunt.
I don't think there's a good angle. It's a foot from the dock. It's a very bad stunt.
It is. It's not great.
And then later on, we got the more running around through Hong Kong, and this is his girlfriend and Joy Pascal, and this is where they re-show the opening credits. And then you're watching the movie in the beginning, you're like, oh, the opening credits are kind of cool looking, very stylized. Yeah. This looks like a Bond opening. They're fighting through silhouettes in front of this giant neon sign on these stairs.
It's got kind of Coca-Cola colors going on to it.
Yes, and it's slow motion. And then they show it in the movie, in the middle of the movie. We see it again.
Yeah. Almost verbatim.
And it's slightly less slow. And like, we're seeing this again?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it was a bummer. It was a big bummer. It was troubling. Like I was thinking maybe we'd see like it from a different perspective or more close shots or something.
No, it's the exact same shit. It's slightly less
verbatim.
slow. I'm like, out of control.
I don't know.
I
gave it some credit because it did look really cool.
No,
but it is pretty offensive to be like
twice.
we're gonna regurgitate it from the credits and again in the middle of the movie.
Yeah,
that is kind of offensive. But it did look cool.
It's been 45 minutes. You can't do it again.
It did look cool though, and we'll see action movies do that on such a better level later on in film action history. You know, whether it's Skyfall or or I feel like they did it in John Wick 3. So there's, and that's just getting more recent stuff. But yeah, we've seen kind of silhouette, backdrop action stuff later on that just does it better. But it was just interesting to see that this happening in 1982. It did look visually really cool. I really liked it. But yeah, the big bugaboo is we saw it verbatim twice at two different points in the movie. That is, yeah.
And then later on, this is when Chuck is in his dress uniform. He lures a henchman into a bathroom.
Yeah.
And this is actually really cool. He grabs the gun that the henchman pulls on him when he realizes it's Chuck, and he holds the hammer back. Like, it's a really quick motion, but he's got the hammer so the gun can't fire.
Mm-hmm.
And then he throws away the gun, and he beats him up in the slowest, most uninteresting way. And it's like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it too.
You blew
just,
it.
I'm so cool. I'm such a badass. I'm going to take pleasure in beating you up. So it's like, it's just there's no back and forth to it. It's just boring.
And then I get angrier with the next scene, where Chuck, now out of full dress uniform. This is where he takes the jacket off and the tie.
He still has the pants and the shirt. But yeah,
and he like jumps off of the guard shack. And then he roundhouse kicks two guys, which standard Chuck Norris fashion. And then is about to pull his gun out of his pants in one motion after he roundhouse kicks the guys. And the movie cuts for some reason to the inspector, the Hong Kong inspector policeman who arrested him earlier. And then we cut back and Chuck has the gun out already and shoots the guy. Why?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
I was more.
It looks so bad.
Yeah, the shot was so, like it's like a normal gun, but the what do you call it? What do you call those things? That the squibs or whatever.
Yeah.
The squib or whatever on the back of this guy is so like almost looks like a cannon being shot out from his back. That it's just like, what? That doesn't fit.
I missed it because I was so angry about the cut. Like, why would you cut away from him doing two roundhouse kicks and pulling out his gun in one smooth motion? That would have looked cool, but you cut away, and now it looks like trash.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, then we get to Chuck one kick killing guys on a yacht to save Joy.
Right, and then he actually gets beat up a little bit.
Yeah. Stan, our man Stan, appears on the scene with like a fish hook.
Yeah.
And disarms Chuck, and then starts beating him up with the fish hook. And Chuck somehow gets the top of the hook off of the pole, and now it's a bow staff, and he gets his butt kicked with the bow staff by Stan.
Yeah.
And the stuntman handling the bow staff obviously knows how to use it and looks really cool doing it. And then Chuck gets bored of that and smashes the staff in two, and then Stan runs away and somehow gets tangled up in some wires and hangs himself.
None of that made sense.
Nope.
He's just climbing, and this is real taut, tight ropes that are there, and somehow tangles his neck around one and then falls and
tighter than a clothesline, like tight. Yeah. And then somehow he gets tangled in these wires that are on the top of the yacht. He hangs himself, but that's not enough, which I actually like. And after hanging himself dead, he slams face first into the yacht, and his face is a bloody mess, which that was cool. I like that.
But other than the idea of how he got tangled, which is just the dumbest thing ever. The rest of it, actually, I really liked.
Yeah, no, that's the best action
scene. The visual of him falling off and smashing his face was really cool. It's just the whole lead up to it didn't make any sense. And yeah, it was a halfway decent fight, and it was cool to see Chuck finally have a challenge for once.
Yeah.
In this movie. But as soon as the villain loses his weapon, it's like, oh, you don't have a weapon. You can't defeat my kicks.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay, this is over. Let me go hang myself.
And Chuck realizes it's not over. He's got to go take out Stan's dad, the old
man. Yeah.
And he does this by somehow sneaking past these cliffs that are very small in a motorboat that somehow the henchmen who are 2 feet away don't hear the motorboat.
Nope. Nope. And then he does a weird distraction and throws a knife and just punches another guy out.
And then he has a
I don't know.
okayish fight with some waiters,
Yeah.
which leads to the final fight with the big Chinese guy,
Yeah.
and it sucks. It just sucks.
It's not great. The probably the worst of it is when Chuck decides to stand up on top of this desk, and it's like made to go into like slow motion, and he leaps off the desk in the most unimpressive.
He looks
way,
like a little kid jumping off of the back of the couch.
Yeah, it looks
it's
terrible. So yeah. They try to like show off like how strong the guy is, and like
this is the man
at one point he's like trying to drown him in a toilet that's like weirdly not even a room. It's just like so clearly like not a real bathroom. Like it's just kind of put there with a weird divider there that he rips it out of the ground. Like, oh.
This is the man who earlier in the movie raped and killed his girlfriend, and Chuck knows this because the gentleman decides to reveal that, and it's just the fight which we're waiting for the whole movie blows. It's not good.
It's not. Yeah, and then he like throws him into some glass door structure or whatever, and then like the glass falls to like kill him. But there's like a weird like the guy's like yelling before the glass is about to fall him. There's like a weird like reverberation type thing with his voice that was just so weird and startling. Like what? Okay.
Bad.
Yeah, and then he leaves. He doesn't do anything to the old man. Like they don't even have a conversation. He just walks out. Like,
there's more voiceover or something, or maybe the cop tells him that
the cop tells him later, like he's in
the insane asylum,
in like an institution or something. Yeah,
cool.
That's it. Like all right, I guess you got your revenge. I guess
you got Stan, the big Chinese dude.
Yeah, I thought the fight between the big Chinese dude and the ex-military partner was a little bit better than Chuck's fight with him.
I have this written in the sidekick part, but it's ridiculous that this is the second Chuck Norris movie in the same year that features a bear hug kill.
Yeah,
that's
good point.
I can't. This is literally like just a few months later after the last Chuck Norris that also featured a bear hug kill. How could you do this twice?
I wonder how far apart they were made from each other.
I have the answer for that because I had to look this up.
You would.
I wonder too. Silent Rage was released on April 2nd, and Forest Vengeance was released on July 30th.
But that's release. How like when was it being made? Right? I don't. Yeah, I feel like because you never know, right?
So you've reached the limit of my interest.
Okay, fair enough. I just know that sometimes a movie can be made earlier and then released later.
True. But that's as far as I care.
Fair enough. So I'm assuming you're going to go with a 1.
No, I gave it a 2. This is the highest score I gave to this.
Okay. I actually went 3 on this one.
Go to hell. It's so bad. All of it is so slow. Nothing looks good.
No, it's not slow. I would disagree.
A lot
it's
of
not slow. No, to me, Beastmaster is slow.
Well, you're right about that. Beastmaster is trash.
No action moment in this movie at all is anywhere near the slow pacing and length.
But there's
of
rarely
the
ever a challenge for him. It's all like for sure, kick, punch, a punch down, kick down.
I think a lot of it was fine. Nothing was impressive.
Yeah, 2.
And then again, even though it came up twice, I really liked that silhouette fight.
2.
You won't even give me 2.5.
2. I refuse. It's a bad.
Refuse.
Rewatch.
What did we?
You know what? Pause this podcast.
No.
Go on to YouTube. Rewatch the bar fight in Silent Rage and marvel at how much better that is.
Oh, totally. Although, do remember how bad that ending fight was.
That was not good.
It was not good. Yeah.
Silent Rage, we gave that a 3.5.
For action?
Yeah. Yeah. What you gonna do?
Well,
You want to say it's just a
I went
half point
3.
worse? Really?
Well, no, I mean, we said 3.5,
No,
right? So
we
if we
said
go
3.5
2
for
and a,
Silent Rage.
I said 3 for. Oh, sorry.
You
So
said-
I said 3 for this movie.
Yeah, you want to say it's just a half point worse or a
So, but what I'm saying is, if we split the difference and go to 2.5, then it's a full point worse.
It's worse than that.
All right, I'll concede again.
It's so boring. There's no like.
Nothing's overly impressive.
I want you to
that was
see
really
this.
cool.
There was no time where I was like, "Oh, that was nice." The
Yeah.
coolest thing was a stylized shot that had like nothing to do with how good the action was. It was pretty cinematography.
That's a good point. I guess what did we give Beastmaster lower in action, right? Because I just
gave it a
want to make
1.
sure. It better be, because like I feel like if this is somehow going over, that's or going under Beastmaster action, that would be upsetting.
Okay, I'm not sure exactly where we ended up with Beastmaster if it combined, but I gave Beastmaster a 2 because of the animal stunts.
See, that's troubling.
That's fair, but I found them I found them equally boring, action wise.
The action is so much worse in Beastmaster. That's the problem.
But the animals.
But what about the animals? They don't really do anything.
Yeah, those ferrets, none.
They bit a guy in the dick.
They chomped that guy's dick, Tim.
Yeah.
That tiger.
Well, I mean,
that tiger got some action. He was jumping on things.
He jumped on a guy. I don't know why that's impressive at all. I mean, I don't count that as action. I think you got to come to 2.5.
That bear only mauled one guy, Tim.
Oh, like you have to give it. It is better than what we saw in Beastmaster. Just remember all the figure 8 sword things and how slow every action sequence was in that movie. It was brutal.
Fine. 2.5.
Thank you.
Chuck Norris destroyed the periodic table because Chuck Norris only believes in the element of surprise.
I know that one. That's a good one. Yeah.
This is how I entertain myself through this bad movie.
We have Leroy. His
Oh, you don't want to start with Sam? The
no,
mentor?
I want to start with Lee. Well, okay, fine. We got Sam Pascal. We got his mentor. He's just not, none of them are in it very much, to be honest, or have a whole lot to do here. So, yeah, we have Sam Pascal, who is the Jewish father of the family.
I love that you mentioned him being Jewish. Because the movie mentions him being Jewish like 2 to 3 times and makes nothing of it. I mean, literally does nothing else with it. Just like, oh, he's Jewish too. I'm like, cool. You going to assume anything about him? No. She's also Jewish.
I think they show that a flashback quickly of him leading a prayer. That's 2 seconds. And if I cared enough, I would have gone back to see the wife and if she was Asian.
Yeah, I was curious about that one too.
Yeah, because the whole family dynamic is a little weird.
It's confusing because his son is very much Chinese and his daughter is
white.
Very much.
Yeah.
By the way, she was in an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, she was the gym teacher, right? I think
you
I looked
that
up.
up. Yeah,
I did. Yeah.
And she looked extra white in that episode. So I was like, well, I wasn't crazy.
Yeah. No, totally. It doesn't make any sense. So I'm like, I'm really hoping it was a Chinese wife in that flashback. I just couldn't, because you get that one little flashback and then basically she died, I guess, at some point not too long ago because he's like lonely or something. They kind of explained.
Yep. They explained he's lonely. They never explained anything about her.
You kind of get the gist that she died or passed.
She's not there, so we're going with that.
He's retired. He's doing something on his property. I don't know.
He's building a pool.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Is that what it was? Okay, yeah.
It's a pool. He's digging a pool.
And he seems bored, and his son is running things.
As bored as I am.
His son, I think, is David, but he's not really a sidekick. I mean, he's just kind of...
He's a side character. I wrote up David, too, because, honestly, I had nothing else to do. But, yeah, he's kind of a hard-ass.
Yeah, Chuck doesn't like his tactics all the time.
Yes, he makes a dealer who is cheating in the casino take off his pants to reveal how much money he has stolen from the casino. and then he does not give the pants back when he fires him and tells him to go away. And Chuck is like, should have given him his pants back. I was like, I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny. He didn't, considering what I've seen usually for casino owners when someone cheats them, I thought this was a fairly lenient punishment, Chuck. Let it go.
Yeah, I agree.
Which David points out, I should have killed him, but I just took away his pants.
Who knows? Maybe Pascal, their senior, was kind of getting the gist because he was kind of saying like, only if you guys could like combine your best qualities together, you'd be a great team or something. So maybe he's commenting on that. Who knows? But that's being forgiving. His girl,
Joy. Oh no, he's talking
Joy,
his girlfriend.
His girlfriend.
His girlfriend. Do you know what his girlfriend's name is?
I didn't get her character name, but I know it's the girl from Animal House, which kind of threw me.
You want to know why you didn't get her character name? Because they only said it one time after she was a dead rape victim. It's Claire.
Oh man.
Apparently, she had a last name that was Bonner.
Oh, okay. She seemed like she was a teacher.
Yep, they mentioned that. I'm like 90% sure she's dubbed throughout the whole movie. That's like a different girl's voice. Because that does not sound like the woman from Animal House.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong.
She's just kind of there.
She really has nothing going on.
Yeah, she's there to protect. She's there when Joy gets to their houseboat. And then she's basically tagged along, dragged throughout the city until she's finally raped and killed.
She has less characterization than Joy, who is almost also a non-character. We get some information.
Yeah.
Joy Pascal, the daughter of Sam, is just a party girl who, while has equity in the casino, isn't really interested in helping to run it at all.
Right.
And that's more characterization than Claire ever gets, who was, like I said, a dead rape victim.
Yeah, I guess she's like at one point gets to show her disappointed when Chuck comes home.
And
she doesn't want to spend more time with her.
This poor woman, Claire, does not allowed to wear a bra throughout almost the entire movie.
Yeah.
And I felt bad for her during every running scene, and there's a lot of running scenes. Because that looked painful. The only time they let her wear a bra is when she's about to get raped. So the large henchman can rip it off. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah.
That wasn't...
And you don't see like a lot of
It's very quick in defense of the movie.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as Death Wish 2.
But you still they focus a long time on Leroy's face as you hear rape going on.
Yeah, because he's the real victim. Yeah.
Yeah, it's real disturbing. And then of course, you get to just see her basically naked, raped and dead, which I was like, oh, she's dead.
Yep.
Okay.
Should we talk about Leroy?
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that he's doing a 17-year-old?
Yep, he is a statutory rapist.
Real messed up.
For laughs.
Yeah, everybody's like, oh, Leroy.
It's 1982. A 38-year-old man nailing a 17-year-old is just, haha.
Right. It's definitely like, you knucklehead, you.
How about let's talk about how Leroy is effing useless. He is worse than the deputy in Silent Rage. At least the deputy provides a distraction for the girlfriend to get away. This guy can't even get a shot off when people invade his home, and he's holding the gun the entire time.
I mean, he gives Chuck a gun earlier. That's somewhat useful, I guess. Maybe.
Go to hell.
Gives him a drink.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
But no, yeah. Totally gets bested pretty easily. Gets his back broken, I guess.
Bear hug death.
Watch the rape, I guess. Yeah. Sad go. And he's like a big dude.
Yeah.
I think he was a former bodybuilder or something I saw.
You've looked into more than I have. I stopped caring after this.
Yeah. I think after this movie, he did more stunt work.
Oh, that makes sense.
And had a pretty legit stunt career. So it's just kind of a bummer that he didn't really get to do a whole lot.
Okay.
But yeah, Joy again, does nothing.
Then we got
she just runs around.
Yeah. We got Inspector Chen, who was the Hong Kong detective who arrests Chuck early on in the movie. They discovered they're after the same guy, and when Chuck refuses to wait for backup, they agree to team up and take down the bad guys on the yacht. And in this scene, when they agree to take down the bad guys, it's dead of night, and then a second later, it is first thing in the morning.
Yeah, it's
bright.
Yep.
And Chen shoots one guy and then gets shot himself. He survives and then asks Chuck at the end of the movie, "You want to join the Force?"
Yeah.
Garbage.
Yeah.
This is a 1.
Well, yeah, it's a 1 for sure.
Chuck Norris doesn't need to shave. His beard is afraid to grow.
Well, that's a weird one because he typically always has a beard.
That's right, because it won't grow thicker. You just need to...
Oh, like he doesn't need to trim. Gotcha.
Yeah, you jealous?
A bit. I know my wife would love me not having to trim as much. It's a little messy.
Oh, right. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, she tried to threaten to get me like this, like like a apron that you would wear for when you're getting your hair cut. So it would go around my neck, and it had suction cups to go to your mirror. So it would just get caught in the apron, and I was like, "There's something to emasculating."
If you would,
that, no, thank
if you would just turn the water on, Tim. And
I do, but it doesn't matter because when you got a beard, when you got this mane going on, right, and you're trimming it, clips it goes everywhere. It goes all over the counter. It's not just going to go into the sink bowl. Like, it goes all over the counter. Like, I see there's like these little sponge things that I see that are good for picking up beard hair that I might look into. But anyway, enough about my beard. So this movie's a 6.
5.5.
What do you mean 5.5? It's a 6. I just did it.
5.5. It's worse than the Sword and Sorcerer.
So you're saying it did get a 6, but you're saying it needs to go lower.
I'm saying I'm refuting your hero of 1.5. Bring it back down to a 1. I gave you your 2.5 for action. It's worse. At least I was laughing and having fun watching Sword and Sorcerer. This movie, I'm like, this just mostly sucks. Especially angry having seen Silent Rage earlier in the season. Like, that's pretty good.
Well, yeah, no, Silent Rage was a surprise. I don't know, man. I'm looking at the movies here that are on the bottom of the list, and I'm just trying to think, like, really, is it really that much worse than some of these movies? Like, I'm a little like, it's worse than Death Wish 2. I don't know about that.
It's worse.
And Sword of the Sorcerer, I don't know, man. I think you enjoyed the sidekicks way too freaking much to remember how much that movie is not good.
I'm going to shoot you with the triple sword.
I mean, again, nonsense sword. None of the action is good.
No, none of the action is good in that movie.
Yeah. There's so much the hero's not good.
Nope.
I mean, there's so much
that part is also not good.
You're
just like this movie.
Saying, yeah, the Sword of the Sorcerer, you're just going over it because of the sidekicks, and there was some at least so bad it's good stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
Kind of what's making you put it over.
That's correct.
And I think that's a little too harsh, man. I'm fine with making it tied at a 6, but put it Sword of the Sorcerer over. We've done that before. We have Junkman and Silent Rage both at 10, and we put Junkman over Silent Rage.
Tim, finger gun to your head. Which would you rather watch again?
To rewatch?
Yeah.
I'd probably do Forced Vengeance.
You're a liar.
Over Sword and Sorcerer. I'm not a liar. I'm really not.
All right, fine.
I'm not.
It's a 6, but you're wrong.
I disagree.
Tim, Chuck Norris once kicked a horse in the chin. Its descendants are now known as giraffes. And here's the last one I have for you. Chuck Norris doesn't wear a watch. He decides what time it is.
That's funny.
So the budget of this movie is $5 million. That's $1 million more than Sword and the Sorcerer.
Wow.
Which is a little over $15.5 million today. Worldwide gross of $6.66, the devil's number, $1 million, over $20.6 million today. The reviews for this movie were not good.
I would imagine so.
And people were like, this is a giant step back for Chuck Norris. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was really, I think, the more parts of this movie that were basically offensive more like in the vein of seeing the same action sequence twice in a row in the intro credits and the middle of the movie, but you also get the closing credits where they get to take you back through all of the stunts that were not impressive.
That's what blew my mind too. I'm like, really? You're showing this after credit stuff? It looks bad again?
Yeah. I'm curious if he filmed this movie first.
It's genuinely funny as I'm watching this too. Is they're showing, because like you said, in the credits they're showing the replays of the action stunts. Like, oh, maybe I was too harsh. Maybe this stuff is actually good looking. No, it sucks. It sucks still. It's not good.
It's not great. The whole him leaping off the building doesn't make any sense.
It's like doing 7 feet in the air.
He's doing like this like jumping kick in the air,
which doesn't hit anybody.
Right, and he goes down and then does another kick. So it's none of it is good. I mean, again, the stunts in this movie were really bad. The stunts in Silent Rage were actually pretty good.
Really good.
The action, I think, for the most part in this movie, it's not slow. It's just fine.
Slow.
It's just not. It's not slow. It's really not. Again, I have to remind you, Beastmaster is slow.
All right.
This is not slow. It's just bad.
Chuck is Chuck speed. Everyone else is like at a quarter of speed.
I guess, but it doesn't really matter.
And he knocks everyone down so quickly. It's like,
he's invincible. No one ever is able to even swing back at him. So you don't really get that gist. So it's just kind of It's just fine. It doesn't do anything for you, but it's not like slow bad.
I really want you to YouTube the bar fight scene again after this.
Don't be wrong. Yeah. Almost all the action sequences are better by hundreds of miles, exception of the end.
No, the end's bad, but it's still better than anything going on in this movie.
You're probably right. I probably would reevaluate that end fight a little bit.
Which is also available on YouTube.
Seeing this. Yeah, it's not. It's just I just remember being really like, oh, this one flat. No. But I also remember how many of the stunts in Silent Rage that were like really good.
Yes, I do.
Like
that's why I'm so
the
angry
dragging
about this.
from the car and everything.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just curious if he filmed this movie second and was like, you know what? I got a bad feeling about this movie that's coming out, and I got some good ideas for some action and some stunts.
Well, this wasn't good. I gotta save my career real fast. I would love to talk to Chuck about this.
Yeah, I would. It would be an interesting one. All right, Chuck, we got to talk about 1982.
Oh Christ!
What was going on there, buddy?
A lot of bad decisions, Tim.
And then some recovering ones. So again, not like Silent Rage is some great movie by any stretch, but
I would like to watch Silent Rage again after watching this. I was like, man, that movie was a lot better than I remember after watching this.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think regardless of the semantics of where we're placing this movie, it is firmly in some of the worst stuff we saw.
It is. I know you say tied with Sword and the Sorcerer. I have it barely above Sorceress. Of how dull I found. How dull. Well, Sorceress got a straight 4. This one I was willing to give it like a 5, 5.5. This is straight dull trash. Like I have no desire to ever watch this thing again.
That's fair. I mean, I'm probably not gonna, to be honest, rewatch a Chuck Norris movie in general, exception of maybe Sidekicks.
Sidekicks.
I do like Sidekicks, but yeah, Chuck Norris has never really done it.
Top Dog.
Yeah, no, I'm good. But yeah, so regardless, 5.5, 6, it's barely a difference. Yeah. Yes, it's tied with Sword and Sorcerer, but I put it below.
We will not be talking about this movie again unless to make fun of it. But we need to stop talking about this movie entirely because this episode's gone too long.
Yeah, I put Sword and Sorcerer at 6 and Force Vengeance at 6, but 12 and 13. So there you go. So they won't crack it. So we need to decide what the next movie is.
Oh, I already decided.
Oh.
James Gunn has got me all excited about the new DC Universe, and one of the movies he has declared is going to be coming out is Swamp Thing. So, let us revisit Wes Craven's 1982 Swamp Thing.
I'm excited.
I haven't seen this movie in decades.
Same. And I've almost pulled the trigger as this being my pick a few times, but then I always get like, is it really an action? But we're classifying it
You
that
decided
way.
superhero movies counted, so yes, it counts.
Fair enough. But this superhero movie is a bit different. It is not a typical superhero movie.
It's funny
at
because
all.
I remember there being exactly one action scene off the top of my head. Involves some boats and Swamp Thing pushing boats over and stuff. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But it's on Tubi, and it should be fun.
Yeah.
That is it for us. Please show your support for the podcast by leaving a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, or wherever you happen to listen to the show. Also, sharing is caring. Be sure to follow us on social media to get the latest show updates. You can contact us by emailing at filmbrochamp@gmail.com or find us by searching for the hashtag filmbrochamp. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Film Bros Championship Podcast. Peace out, everyone.
Everyone should watch Sidekicks. That's a good movie. Jonathan Brandis. We miss him. Rest in peace, Jonathan Brandis. That's the end of this episode.
Take us away.